Balakun, a bridge to Ukraine. Join the conversation at balakun.co.
Балакун – міст в Україну. Долучайтесь до наших розмов на www.balakun.co.
Please subscribe!
Why don't we introduce ourselves? So we started this project to try and connect volunteers who are fluent speakers with Ukrainians who want to learn English. And it's turned into a really cool organization. And Vit was actually one of the first students who signed up. And so I'll let him introduce himself as well.
Vit, Vitaly. I'm just a regular citizen. Myself from Crimea, so we have much in common of displacement. I'm very grateful to Balakun project, and I wanted to make my contribution to it. And we started this podcast just to inform more of a Western audience about Ukraine itself. Just humble opinion, just humble information, what we could find, what I experienced, some information from inside. And you're actually the second guest at our podcast.
Welcome, Rick. It's really great to have you. Would you like to start by just telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone, and happy to be here. What do I do? So I mostly fundraise for the armed forces of Ukraine. I'm initially from Makivka, Donetsk region, and I lived in occupation there under Russian occupation for 4.5 years until 2019. And I got out of there, and now I live in Kyiv. With the start of full-scale invasion, I changed. I wasn't really like a citizen in the full sense of this word of my country. I was always on the Ukrainian side. I always hated Russian world, and I always tried to, I don't know. I always understood everything. Who is the villain here? Who invaded Ukraine? And it was Russia, yes, to say it, directly. So Russia was oppressing the people who lived there in occupation and keep doing it even harshly lately. But if you live in your own bubble, and how Russians usually say, not interested in politics and all that stuff, you can just live and they will let you be. Well, not in all of the senses, because still your rights in occupation are oppressed, and you won't have the right of free movement, of course, freedom of speech. There's no freedom of speech there. If you say that you have a pro-Ukrainian position, you might end up in some basement or filtration camp, and you will just be tortured there, sometimes for years. I can later tell you about a good book that describes the process of it all. So yeah, then after, I was beginning all of this from that I wasn't a citizen completely back then. Before the full-scale invasion, I was focused on mostly my own needs, my own hobbies. Yeah, I was a gamer, and the gaming was my life. I was streaming gaming. I was creating content in gaming, and that was my main focus. But then, after Russians invaded it all became obvious to me that either I resist somehow and be fully involved in this, or there will be no Ukraine in a few years, because this is the second time Russians are invading Ukraine and trying to destroy even, the Ukrainians themselves as a nation, and they commit an obvious genocide, and only united together, all of us Ukrainians, and not just us, because it's not enough against Russians, who have 140 million of slaves who will just be sent here, as you can see now, and hundreds of thousands will be eliminated, and they will still keep coming. So it all is a matter of involvement of each and every one of us. Or there will be first no Ukraine, then no Europe, and then probably, who knows, maybe the whole world, as we see the tyrants are uniting right now. So to sum it up, right now I'm focused on helping the armed forces of Ukraine. I do streams every Sunday where me and my community, we fundraise for different goals and needs of equipment. And I also participate in the NAFO truck campaign of 69 Sniffing Brigade, where they provide good NAFO trucks for different units of our defense forces. And they are doing a good job in that. They've already provided almost 300 trucks for the army, and they won't stop. And yeah, so I'm basically doing fundraising campaigns. We finished one about 2 weeks ago for the NAFO truck for FPV pilots of Steel Border Brigade. It's a border guard brigade of the internal ministry of, or no, Ministry of Internal Affairs, right? It is called probably in English. So yeah, this is the initiative, which is pretty much done very good in terms of marketing, and they know how to involve people. So yeah, just a shout out to 69 Sniffing Brigade and what they do, and I'm happy to be involved in this campaign and in these campaigns. But also what I do on my channel, I translate and dub the interviews with prisoners of war, Russian prisoners of war, made initially by Ukrainian journalists Volodymyr Zolkin and Dmytro Karpenko. They are pretty good at what they do, and they've posted almost 800 of those interviews with not just prisoners of war, but also with collaborators already, with Ukrainian traitors who worked for Russia and helped killing our people. Not always killing, but sometimes spreading Russian propaganda, glorifying the invasion and all that stuff. I have a dub of one of them already on my Discord server, because Zolkin is not allowing to post to repost on other channels the latest videos of his due to copyrights. But all the videos that were posted before the 3rd of March 2023, they can be easily reposted. So I have plenty of content still to dub. It is around 500 of those interviews, and with the tempo I'm currently at, this will be enough until the end of my life. So I either need to speed up or I need to I better speed up, because I really want people to listen to those Russians, to understand their mindset, to understand their way of life. And it's just fascinating what things you can hear there.
News, what's in news?
Let's start with news. I bet you've got some good news. I think I know what it is.
I've got tremendous news.
Yeah.
The news is 230 Ukrainian military and civilians returned from Russian captivity.
Amazing.
The last exchange was on August 7, 2023,
Mhm.
almost half a year. And back then, 22 Ukrainian soldiers returned to Ukraine from Russian captivity, including some wounded. And this time, some of those who returned were actually known as missing. So no one knew whether they were alive or they were in captivity. And they returned, and well, it was great happiness for their families actually to know where these people are. And a part of it, there were a couple of soldiers who were one of them was the border guard service, who was the first to get this invasion in the south of Crimea, or in the south of Ukraine, in the border with occupied Crimea. So that were the first people who acknowledged war, acknowledged first steps of invasion. And there were also defenders of the Snake Island, Zmiyny Ostrov. Those people who returned, many of them were just banned from all the information, and they didn't know whether Ukraine existed anymore, whether there were any hope for Ukraine, or where was Ukraine still fighting back, or any of this. And I think that their emotions are just unbearable. So that's the greatest news of last days, or even the last couple of months. It's very sad that a lot of people are still in captivity. A lot of Mariupol defenders are still in captivity, and negotiations about prisoners exchange are still ongoing.
News, what's in news?
I was going to ask you a question about the Zolkin dubs that you've been doing on YouTube. Was there something that made you want to interpret these to a Western audience? And also, are there any of these characters that surprise you, or have you kind of heard it all before and nothing surprises you anymore?
You won't believe it, but every day I hear an interview that surprises me. And I actually made a list of those interviews. And for each interview, I just describe what it is about, so I can go back later and choose the best of them and dub them first. So I have this tag out there in the brackets that says gold. And lately, almost every line has gold in it, because they still impress me. Like every new interview that comes up on Zolkin's channel, and also on Karpenko's channel. He created his own channel. It's his partner who was doing the interviews from first days together with Zolkin. But yeah, a lot of people know him as Apostle now, and I'm actually dubbing the video right now where he is becoming an apostle. Apostle probably is the pronunciation.
Apostle, yeah.
Apostle, yeah. So we just, there's T there, so I got used to say apostle, but it's apostle, yeah. And how did I think of doing that? I was just listening to those interviews, and I really got not just passionate, but a bit obsessed with that, about finding out all of that, sometimes truth, sometimes lies that they are saying. But anyway, just seeing how they think and who they are, those creatures that invaded us. Because at many cases, I cannot say that they are people. Of course, they have those needs, basic needs of people and basic emotions of people. Of course, they miss their loved ones, and when they are calling to their wives or mothers, they often cry or just get emotional. And that seems like people, but the thing is, one of the main tools of their government is dehumanizing them to each other and dehumanizing us to them, and that changes people. That makes them really ignorant and indifferent to each other, and they are becoming, well, they are losing a humans in them, they are becoming more like, I don't know, they're not even animals. This is something else. And every day I discover something really curious and interesting about them. Of course, there are interviews like, oh my God, nothing new. I've heard this 199 times, or sometimes 399. But no, like every second and even every first day, I hear something new. And sometimes they are atrocities that Russians are doing there. with civilians or with our soldiers. Yesterday, I listened to an interview, and this was really terrible. That's the last one, but the guy from Wagner, who is already sitting in our prisoner camp, was telling how they are training to do the first aid, to provide the first aid to their soldiers by actually dismembering their own alive soldiers. They are cutting off their limbs and then train on them. That this is just insane. And this is, I think, not the first time I hear it from prisoners of war, but so graphically, I think for the first time. That guy also, by the way, realized something, and he said the wise thing, that he has become a Nazi. I mean, Zolkin was asking, so who's the Nazi in this case? Is it us, as you call us, Ukrainians, or is it you, Russians? And he said, I actually think it's me, because I believed that you are Nazis, and by believing that you are Nazis, I became Nazi. And Zolkin said, oh my God, this is one of the deepest things I've ever heard on interviews. And I think, and they are usually not saying something like that. They're usually acting fools, or they are just saying, I don't know, it's actually also acting fool, but no, they actually, many times they don't realize anything. Like going through captivity, I believe in this. I believe that they are mostly don't pretend like they are understanding, but they are really not understanding what's it all about. And their eyes aren't opening when they're going through captivity. They still think that we are Nazis. They still think that they've come to liberate people here, that they've come to save Ukraine from oppression by destroying it, and they don't realize anything after coming through captivity. And I think it's like 70 to 80% of them. So when I was starting thinking about Dublin, how it happened, I was just listening to those interviews, and I thought, oh my God, this must be heard not just by Ukrainians, because Ukrainians and Russians are like 43% each, as Zolkin was saying not long ago, who are listening, who are the visitors of his channel. So it's like almost 50-50, and only like 15% are from different other countries on his YouTube channel. Then I checked what subtitles he provides, and subtitles were horrible. They are automatic captions from YouTube, and I thought, why shouldn't I do that? I've never done dubbing, I was doing subs around, I don't know, 13 years ago, just 2 times to sub a TV show, but it was like, I don't know, 10% of what I've done for the first interview. But I decided, why not? Why shouldn't I try? Why shouldn't I do that? It shouldn't be hard. And it was really not hard. Of course, I've spent 2 or 3 months to finish the first interview, to dub it, because those days, first massive rocket attacks started happening. It was October last year, and I actually started doing it on the hardest times when we had no electricity half of the day, and usually in the evening after work, when I had time for it, I didn't have electricity, so it was going really hard and slow, but I managed to finish it. And the feedback I've received after the first interview was, first of all, massive, and secondly, it was just impressive and outstanding in terms of how people need it. I've seen that people were really enjoying this content, and they want to hear this. And in just a month, that video received half a million of views. And right now it's something like 650 or something views. So people really want to see it, and people were watching the second interview even more than the first one. And the second one was, I think, the most successful, as it was with the professional soldier, who is the captain and who looks like cold-blooded killer. It's the bald guy. You guys probably have seen that also. And it really was impressive. Why did I choose that one? Because in that one you see that the guy really came to kill us. He was probably killing some Ukrainians, and he has no, you know, conscience. Yeah, I wanted to say угрызіння совісті, but I guess conscience is just the phrase for that.
I used to watch those when they first started releasing them, and it was very difficult to understand the automatic subtitles, and I think there was so much context lost that you just didn't understand from those. So I remember when your one first came out, watching it and thinking, this is great. You actually get a lot more from the interview when it's been properly dubbed like that.
I just listened and listened with my mouth opened for all that you're making for translating Zolkin. So I thought that his main goal was to just let Russian speakers, I can say that this term, like from not only Russia but from Soviet
space, former Soviet space, yeah.
Former Soviet space, to know what's really happened, and it's in use for Russians also. So those who could see it just would realize what's really going on, and for Ukrainians, it's also a way to realize who we are dealing with. And I've always thought of it like it's in this use, and you making it open for Western audience or English-speaking audience is very great initiative, I can say, and I think it's very important, actually.
Thank you.
Explain your meme.
Poroshenko and the Chocolate Factory.
And the heading for it is I want to see Willy Wonka. We have Willy Wonka at home, and at home is Poroshenko and Chocolate Factory. Like Poroshenko, the former president of Ukraine, also known for the big chocolate factory and one of the biggest producers or manufacturers of chocolates and sweets in Ukraine.
Are they good?
Yeah, they really are. Yeah. You can hate Poroshenko, you can love him, but you won't say that his chocolate is bad or his sweets are bad. Everyone should give him credit for his chocolates. I wanted to ask about your experience before full-scale invasion on YouTube. I know that you were a video game streamer, and what was your audience, and what did you actually do?
Well, guys, I was a super small streamer, only the beginner. I sometimes had like 10 people watching me simultaneously maximum, I think. So I was just trying my best to get out there and be noticed, and I didn't succeed in that in gaming because it's a really yes, very competitive in terms. Yeah, there are too many people many more people who stream gaming than people who stream, let's say, politics. Okay, so yeah, that's really hard to get out there. So I was mostly creating content, and I think I succeeded in that. This is actually something that gave me the prior experience to start dubbing, because I learned DaVinci Resolve when I was editing those gaming clips, and that's the app I'm using to dub, and it's an amazing app. They are not paying me for the advertisement, but I'll advertise them anyway.
So you were already knew what you were doing in terms of making content. Are you still learning as you go?
Yeah, every day I learn something new. Well, actually, I would say for the last half a year, I probably am not learning much as I found the fastest and the best process possible right now. And people who are coming to help me are giving me new ideas also. So I'm always open to develop my skills and to learn something new.
What are the most important things that you've learned along the way about fundraising?
So first thing, and my principle is there are no small donations. I keep repeating it to people. And for donators, it is always, people feel embarrassed or ashamed that they will send, for example, $1 or $5 or even $10 to $20. They are not sending it because they think, oh my God, it is so small. What will it change? But no, this change. Every donation contributes, and every donation matters. And combined, they make a much bigger sum of money. When 100 or let's say even 50 people send just $1, it will already become 50 or $100. So that's the main thing. And the other principle I operate, um, hmm, I operate, I stand by is transparency. First, I already started to do it since the very beginning. I wanted all of it to be transparent. This is why during each stream, I'm doing the transfer from my PayPal, which is the most popular way to donate, to the monobank jars themselves. I put the progress bars on the screen of each jar. Monobank provides an amazing option, and you're able to put the progress bar and it will update instantly. As soon as you donate, in just 1 or 2 second, progress bar updates and people see that money go to the destination. I mention every donation during the stream as I receive it. So people see everything on their screens, and they see where money goes. And we usually, I usually discuss with them, should we send here 1,000, oh sorry, 100 more, or here a few hundred more? Like it's all not just decided by me, but by the community themselves. So transparency is essential. I do the report after every stream. Well, ideally, it should be done the next day, but sometimes it's in 3 or 4 days, as I also have a lot of work and I don't usually have. And lately, oh my God, people have been so generous, and our scale is growing. And yeah, for example, for the last 2 streams, we raised $5,500.
What kinds of things are you usually collecting for?
Like the most needed there on the front line are trucks, are drones. I would say drones are on the first place. Drones, trucks, thermal scopes. Night vision hasn't been collected on my channel yet. Wow, that's an achievement still to do. But night vision is very popular. Then what do we have there? We were raising for different parts of rifles, like stocks, bipods, and yesterday we finished the fundraiser for the 338 caliber rifle and the good scope for it for my friend El Greco, who serves in Steel Border Brigade. And yeah, I'm so happy, and people were so generous. Yeah, we also were raising money for the repair of APC, Armored Personnel Carrier. So so these are the most common things, but there are some unusual things that are coming up time to time.
Fun fact.
Should we do the fun fact?
For the fun fact, it's not actually a fun fact today. The story of People's Bayraktar. This story happened in 2022, in summer, when On June 22nd, 2022, on his birthday, TV presenter and public figure Serhiy Prytula announced an all-Ukrainian fundraising campaign for attacked drones Bayraktar TB2. According to him, the People's Bayraktar project was being prepared for about a month. So the goal was to raise money to buy 3 Bayraktars. And about 300 million hryvnias were collected on the first day. And on
Wow.
the third day of fundraising, the planned amount of 500 million was fully collected and exceeded. And according to Prytula, as one of evening on June 24th, more than 600 million hryvnias had been collected, which would allow ordering 4 Bayraktars instead of 3. After their fundraising was completed, drone manufacturer Baykar announced that it would send 3 drones to Ukraine, for which Ukrainians raised money free of charge, on the basis that all the fundraised money be donated to charities helping Ukrainians both in Ukraine and refugees for Ukrainian outside. The condition was accepted, and on August 18th, Prytula announced through a YouTube video and a post of Notion that the money raised was spent on striking a deal with ICI, a Finnish satellite manufacturer. So for that money, the satellite was bought, and annual subscription for all the satellite system was purchased.
Thanks. It shows the power of fundraising. You know, if you have a big enough audience and the power to reach people, how quickly you can get things done.
Yeah, the real democracy in the nations, like the nations as a way to express people's
will.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a fun fact that's a little bit ridiculous. In 2001, in the New Zealand census, 53,715 people listed their religion as Jedi. But by 2006, the religion declined to about 20,000. So we have 20,000 Jedi in New Zealand.
Wow.
Yeah.
We do need their power.
Yeah. It was just funny that one year during the census, everyone decided they were going to put Jedi down on the form, and it was actually counted because enough people had put it.
Did they praise Yoda?
I think so. This would have been before Baby Yoda, so.
And Baby Yoda, yeah.
Yeah, we're weirdos here.
The majority of your audience is English speaking, right?
Yeah. I was orienting to English-speaking audience from the very beginning, because one of the goals for me is to inform people outside Ukraine about what is happening here, to show them the reality here, and to help understand with those dubs, to help understand also Russian prisoners of war, and not just prisoners of war, Russians themselves, how they think, how they live.
So how do you gain your audience?
So I began with, I began to stream actually in the beginning of full-scale invasion. It was the 3rd month of invasion, as I was streaming before as a gamer. And I have a friend from Canada, Jet. His nickname is Jet. He actually was interested in our situation, and he was caring about me and my family since the first day. He was constantly on contact with me. And I said, Jet, don't you want to make not an interview, don't you want to make a stream together there and talk about what's happening here? to spread awareness. We started on Instagram. It was May of 2022, so yeah, more than almost 2 years ago. Okay, a year and a half, yeah, to be precise. So we did it on Instagram. The quality was terrible. The number of people was small. It was like 5 people watching us, but not constantly. They were coming and going, as my page was for gaming, and they were coming there and hearing mostly like, we're not talking about gaming. This is why they were leaving.
They might be confused.
Yeah, yeah, they might be confused. So and then we found in the first 1 or 2 streams, we found our dedicated viewer who was coming to every stream since then and watching us. So we yeah, like for the first 8, I think, streams, we were doing it on Instagram, and we had just one dedicated viewer, Charlie Kirby. He's from UK, but he has background from other countries too. But an amazing guy, like the fan number 1. So he stayed with us, and then I transferred to Twitch for a few streams. Then I realized that I probably got to go to YouTube, as YouTube is more interested in politics than Twitch. So I transferred to YouTube, and we were doing that for all the 2022 with just a few people. But almost every week, I tried to stay consistent, as I know that consistency is very important to grow up as a YouTuber or any other, streamer or blogger. So I did it every week. And we were talking with Jet usually for an hour. I was informing him, like providing the weekly news, what happened this week, and what. Yeah, we were discussing the situation and all of that. I started asking my friends to come to the streams, and we grown audience to, I would say, 7 to 12 people watching it simultaneously. But everything changed significantly when I had that idea with dubbing. I posted my first dub. Oh my God, it was just this year. It was January this year, 4th or 7th of January. And then the flow of people started coming to the channel. First video gave me, I would say, plus, I don't know, 7 to 10,000 people. People were discovering the channel. As I've told you, it was 500,000 people watching the first dub, so it was easy to grow the channel. If 500,000 people are watching your channel in just a month, of course you will have the big flow of subscribers coming to the channel. So then it was not that active after the second interview. We still had a big flow of subscribers coming to the channel, and so the streams which we continued, they started bringing a lot more people. Like so in the beginning there were just numbers, not numbers, одиниці людей.
Several of them, we can say.
Several, yes, thank you. That's the word. Several people, and then they started to become dozens of people pretty quick. In the beginning of this year of 2023, every stream had 50 to 60 people already. And then what I've started to do, I've started to collaborate with other streamers from I think May, maybe even from April this year. And there was another good thing that brought many more people to my channel, because but this is the way. Okay, so to answer quick, the best way to bring more people to my channel, was to start working on those dubs. And it was just like a side effect. I wouldn't say that this was my intent to start doing it by this. Like, this wasn't a goal. The goal was to spread it to more people, and it was just side effect, the flow of people, and many subscribers were coming thanks to that. And the second thing is collaborating with other streamers and bloggers, of course, who talk about Ukraine, who's interested in helping Ukraine. And now I'm acquainted and also already friends with many other streamers. And I would say I am really lucky to have them and to have their communities join in our community. But this is the way that all of them realize that we should be united, and in unity we can achieve much more.
Try to pronounce it.
I thought of a word for today. I wanted to bind it with the episode, but I would rather bind it to today's news. So today's word would be poloneni. Poloneni.
Poloneni.
One who is in captivity. 230 полонених повернулись додому. 230 captives returned home. 230 полонених повернулись додому. Let me write it down for you.
230 полонених повернулись додому. Okay, here's one for you.
Oomph.
Oomph. Yep. Do you know what it means?
Something demonical.
No, it's like a word to describe vitality or impact. So the singer's performance lacked oomph, leaving a lull.
Impact. Oomph.
It lacked oomph. There was no oomph in the performance, leaving a lull in the audience's energy. So there was no
Oh,
oomph in the
energy.
performance. Yeah. Yeah.
I see.
Oomph.
Wow. I know this band called Oomph.
Are they Ukrainian?
It's the German one.
Oh, okay. Oomph.
There's something like gothic, I believe, or metal, or gothic metal, or it's rock in general. It's when I was much younger, I liked it a lot.
Did you learn English from gaming?
First, when I was a student, I was into movies and TV shows. I was obsessed with cinema, to be honest. And when I was a student, I was spending, I don't know, 40% of my time watching movies. I was going to the cinema in Donetsk. There was a big mall and had a multiplex cinema there. And when I was, from my 20 to 24, to the first invasion, until the first invasion, like almost every day, I went to 2 to 3 cinema. How do you call it? Seance, kino pokaz. Shows? Okay, so daily. So in a week I could have watched 10 to 15 movies in cinema. So and then I started watching them with subtitles at some point, then with English subtitles, then without subtitles. So, but also the thing that I was listening to the English language music, and I always wanted to repeat after the musicians. I was always mumbling under my nose. I was mumbling I know that's not a phrase, but it doesn't matter. I was repeating after the characters I liked, and that repeating gave me the chance to be able to impersonate the accents and all of that. So that's just, let's say, my passion, my hobby. I always liked English, and I always wanted to improve it. So I started repeating after those characters, after musicians. So I started singing songs and tried to be exact in pronunciation, to repeat it exactly, and all of that. So then I started gaming, and like practicing speaking English with other people, especially with people who are native speakers, is the key, I think, to learning English, and that's what your project is focused on. I know, so I think it's pretty efficient because this is the key, and that's how I got my English improved a lot, because there were multiplayer games since 2014. For I think 3 or 4 years, I was constantly speaking with my friends in multiplayer games. This is how I got it on the current level, I think.
Yeah, because we have a lot of mentors who are not teachers. Most of them, in fact, are not teachers at all. And so one of our biggest jobs is trying to convince people that you don't have to be a teacher to be a very effective help in someone's learning journey. So yeah, that's why I was wondering if picking it up from gaming was was how you managed it. The other question I had was from the other side of that is, do you feel like there are more and more Ukrainians now who want to learn English and who are trying to get practice?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people are in need of that, and they feel that need. And even my relatives are saying that, hmm, uh, yeah, for example, my grandma told me about a month ago, uh, she said, I've met a person on the street who started talking English to me, or speaking English to me. So, and I was just confused. I understood his intention, uh, but I couldn't understand a word. And I thought, maybe it's still not late to start learning English. And I told her, I have actually a project for you. She still, yeah, she still thinks about it.
So we often have mentors who join because they intend to one day visit Ukraine. Do you have any advice for people who are thinking about that?
Guys, I would tell you, I have an advice. I have an advice not to wait until this war ends. Come now. Maybe not in the winter, because yeah, winters could be harsh here in Ukraine. Uh, but in spring, in summer, you should definitely come to Ukraine, especially to Kiev region. This will give you the understanding of what this war is, but you won't be in danger. There's always a chance to be hit by a rocket. Uh, but it's so tiny and small, that I might say you're like 99 point infinite number of nines times, you know, not times, but percent, yes, percent safe here. So come to Ukraine. That's my only advice. Come to Ukraine next year in spring or summer, and you will be safe here. At least if you won't be going to somewhere close to the front line, to Kharkiv or Donetsk Oblast or Kherson Oblast. If you stay in central Ukraine, you're safe, but this will give you a much better understanding of what we're living in. That's it.
What a joke! Ha 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 ha!
If I dreamt of my working day all night in my sleep, who would pay me for that?
Nobody. Unpaid overtime. I have a joke. It's a terrible, terrible one. Be prepared. What is brown and sticky? A stick.
Yeah.
That's a dad joke.
Instead of giving gifts to your friends or family, you can agree with them to gift each other a donation for any FPV fundraiser out there, because we have a shortage of shells on the front line right now, and the only thing that can replace shells, only to some extent, are FPV drones, and we need to multiply the shipment of those drones. Pan Sternenko is doing the best work out there. So one of the fundraisers you can donate is his fundraiser. But so idea is that you we invest. We began this with my wife. We agreed to gift each other that donation, and we did that. And I am just we're doing this to have another Christmas in Ukraine because situation right now is critical. And if it goes as it goes now, we may not have another Christmas. Maybe not next year, but in 2 or 3 years, we may not have Christmas in Ukraine because Ukraine won't exist anymore, or as a state or as a nation, Ukrainians might disappear because Russians right now are advancing and they have success. They're in their offensive. So we need to unite even more. We need to do more. I feel like I need to do more for my country. This is why I'm trying to work even harder on my channel, and not just with fundraising, but with dubs. But the last stream, for example, guys, last stream was 6 hours long. Can you imagine? It was until almost 2 a.m. my time. So you can imagine how much time I put into streams and fundraising, and less time remains to work on dubbing. So if you guys can help me with spreading the word and trying to help me build up my team who will help me work on subtitles, this will be very much appreciated.
Wanted to add about this podcast itself, as it has two main motives. The first one is to inform about Ukraine besides war. So Ukraine is known by war, and I wanted to focus on Ukraine besides it. So how it is itself, how people are, how things are going despite war or beside it. And the second one is for Balakun project itself to gain more mentors. So this one is more focused on English speaking audience, and to gaining mentors is crucial for the project, as there are a lot of students as far as I know, and a lack of mentors actually, and some mentors are taking too many students and they just
Burnout, yeah,
and burnout. And I have my also personal ulterior motive for that is having this speaking club and practice my speaking, my own ulterior motive for that. And I thought
I will gladly help you with that. Sorry for interrupting.
Just to spread the word about this podcast, about the Balakun project itself, and maybe your audience could contribute somehow in mentoring students. And I think that Sandi would tell more about the numbers, because I'm not actually aware of them.
Yeah, so we have 100 and almost 150 matches between students and mentors now, but we still have about 70 students waiting. And every time we do something like this, like with that video with Anna from Ukraine, we get a lot more people interested because it's a way that they can give their time to do something useful. So if you're happy to share this with your audience once we finished editing it, would really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, guys. And I will talk about your project. Besides that, I wanted to do it for a long time already, but my streams are usually overwhelming with the fundraising lately, that I just don't have enough time to talk about everything I want. I stopped talking about news for the last few months because people are so generous and that we have and I usually have guests on my streams and I interview them, or they interview me sometimes, but that's two main focuses that unfortunately doesn't left me enough time for to talk about everything I want. I should be probably streaming at least like 4 times per week, but I do it only 1 time per week. So yeah, that's it. But guys, definitely on my next stream this Sunday, you can actually come to it if you'll have time and watch it for a bit. I will talk about Balakun. I will call people to join the project as I see it is a very potential one and a very good one. So thank you for doing a great job, guys. And I just we just we can work together, we can unite. As I've told you, united we can achieve much more. So I'm thinking that at least several people from my community will become your mentors, because some of them have free time and they're willing to help Ukraine, and this is going to be a good way to do it. So yeah, that's it.
It was a great pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, Vitaly, Sandy, thank you. It was a pleasure for me to meet you. Thank you for amazing questions. And yeah, I think you got the best of it. The interview and this conversation was just amazing. So thank you. You have a great day. Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава.
Balakun, a bridge to Ukraine. Join the conversation at balakun.co.